Revolution of science and technology in ancient Mesoamerican civilization. Mesoamerica derived from the Greek word "meso", which means Middle America. Mesoamerica is the region that is now Mexico and Central America. Mesoamerica was home to three major civilizations during the pre-Columbian times. The three major civilizations are namely the Mayans, the Aztecs, and the Incas. These three major civilizations were said to have a common ancestor, the Olmecs. The Olmecs lived along the Gulf Coast of modern-day Mexico in tropical rainforests and lowlands from around 1200 BC to 400 BC. Known to many historians as the mother of culture, this strongly influences the later-on civilization. Cultural heritage. The Olmecs are considered a cultural heritage by historians which begin the cultural traits. Colossal Head 5. It is the Olmec art of carving a large head from basalt, a type of volcanic rock. This fragment part of earliest calendar system in Mesoamerica. It includes the partial date in the calendrical system known as the long count. It is primarily associated with the classical period Maya AD 250 to 900, where it recorded historical events for the royal courts. The Olmec used an early form of cliff writing to record events, dates, and to tell stories. Glyphs are pictures that represent words. The Mayan, 250 AD to 900 AD, developed in what is now called the Yucatan Peninsula.
They incorporated their advanced understanding of astronomy into their temples and other religious structures. The El Castillo, or the castle, a 79-foot pyramid, has a total of 365 steps, the same number as the days in a solar year at Chichen Itza. Testament to the Maya skill at math and astronomy, twice a year, on the day of the spring and autumn equinoxes, a shadow falls on El Castillo in the shape of a serpent. As the sun sets, the snake appears to wriggle down the steps of the pyramid until it finally joins the serpent's head at the base of the staircase. The Maya built the circular building believed to be an observatory. By carefully watching the stars, the Maya developed a 365-day calendar and could even predict solar eclipses. Mayan is known for measuring time using two complicated calendar systems. The Zokin calendar combines 20-day names with the 13-day numbers to produce 260 unique days. It is used to determine the time of religious and ceremonial events and for divination. Each successive day is numbered from 1 up to 13 and is starting again at 1. The Hab was made of 18 months of 20 days each, plus a period of 5 days at the end of the year known as Waib. Mayan are considered as one of the most scientifically advanced societies in Mesoamerica. As they are skilled in mathematics, the Mayan and other Mesoamerican cultures used a vigesimal number system based on base 20, probably originally developed from counting on fingers and toes. The numerals consisted of only three symbols: 0, represented as a shell shape, 1, a dot, and 5, a bar. Thus, addition and subtraction were a relatively simple matter of adding up dots and bars. They also developed the concept of zero and the positional value even before Roman did.
The period of the Incas.
The Inca civilization developed in ancient Peru between 1400 and 1533 Common Era, and their empire eventually extended across western South America from Quito in the north to Santiago in the south. making it the largest empire ever seen in the America and the largest in the world at the time. The Incas made advanced scientific ideas and tools to help them in everyday life, such as roads paved with stone buildings, irrigation system and techniques for storing water, calendar with 12 months, the first suspension bridge, Kipu, a system of knotted ropes to keep records that only expert can interpret, and Inca textile. Roads paved with stone. The Incas built a large system of roads that went throughout their empire. The roads were usually paved with stone. Stone steps were often built into steep areas in the mountains. Stone buildings is a building method by which structures are constructed from stone without any mortar to bind them together. Dry stone structures are stable because of their unique construction method, which is characterized by the presence of a load-bearing facade of carefully selected interlocking stone. The Inca were expert farmers. They used irrigation and water storage technique to grow crops in all sorts of terrain from the desert to the high mountain. Despite not having beasts of burden or iron tools, the Inca farmers were very efficient. Calendar. The Inca used their calendar to mark religious festival as well as the season so they could plant their crops at the correct time of the year. They studied the sun and the star to calculate their calendar. The Inca calendar was made up of 12 months. Each month had 3 weeks of 10 days each. When the calendar and the sun got off track, the Inca would add a day or two to bring them back into alignment. The first suspension bridge. Inca rope bridges are simple suspension bridges over canyon, gorges, and rivers constructed by the Inca Empire. The bridges were an integral part of the Inca road system and exemplify Inca innovation in engineering. Quipu was a series of strings with knots. The number of knots, the size of the knot, and the distance between knots conveyed meaning to the Inca, sort of like writing. Inca textile were one of the most precious commodities of the Inca culture and denoted a person's social status and often their profession. The brightly colored pattern on a wool tunic represented various positions and achievement. Inca weapons. The Inca had different groups of weapons for the different war groups. They split the armies into groups. Because before the warriors just had random weapons they did not know how to use, so they made groups to train each warrior to handle a specific weapon.
The Aztec civilization. The Aztec tribe lived in southern Mexico from about 900 Common Era to 521 Common Era. In the 1100s, the Aztecs settled in the Valley of Mexico on the swampy shores of Lake Texcoco and on a small island in the lake. The Aztec named this place Tenochtitlan, and it eventually became the capital of their civilization. Mighty Tenochtitlan. Tenochtitlan had broad avenues building plazas, markets, temples, and palaces.
Tenochtitlan, also known as Mexico. Tenochtitlan was a large Mexica archipelago in what is now the historic center of Mexico City. It was built their capital city, Tenochtitlan on Lake Texcoco. Built in two islands, the area was extended using chinampas, small artificial islands created above the waterline that were later consolidated, eventually reached an area of more than 30 square kilometers or 5 square miles.
The contribution of the Aztec school to build Tenochtitlan into the city they wanted, the Aztec knew that they would need many engineers, builders, and other specialists. To solve this problem, the Aztecs set up a system of public school. All Aztec children went to school where they learned Aztec history, religion, and a specialized profession. Aztec children were trained to be a specialist in some area. Boys studied how to be a farmers, traders, engineers, builders, astronomers, and doctors. Students who became builders in interior design and built the amazing Aztec cities, including the capital city of Tenochtitlan. Aztec life. At first, life was hard on the southern land, but the Aztec gradually built up the city. They built causeways and bridges to connect the island to the main island. A causeway is a raised road of path usually built across a body of water. Farming. To solve the issue of growing crops in a swampy area, the Aztec built chimampas. Chimampas are floating gardens built on a series of rafts, which were anchored to the lake bed. They piled dirt on top of the rafts and grew crops on them. The gardens were quite successful. The Aztec grew chili pepper, squash, corn, tomatoes, and beans.
The Aztec had many gods, but worshipped Huitzilopochtli, the god of the sun, and were above all others. They believed that they lived in the era of the fifth sun, and that any day the world could end violently. In order to postpone their destruction and appease the gods, men performed human sacrifices. While human sacrifice is the act of killing one or more human as a part of ritual usually intended to please or appease gods, spirits of dead ancestors such as priority offering as a return of sacrifice when a king's servants are killed in order for them to continue to serve their master in the next life. The Quetzalcoatl was his name, indicates a feathered serpent, a flying reptile, or much like a dragon, who was a boundary maker and transgressor between earth and sky. He was a creator deity having contributed essentially to the creation of mankind. The most famous work of Aztec sculpture depicts the five consecutive worlds of the sun from Aztec mythology. The stone is not, therefore, in any sense of functioning of Aztec stone or calendar stone, but rather it is an elaborately curved solar disk, which for the Aztec and other Mesoamerican culture represented rulership. In less than 200 years, it evolved from small settlement of an island in the western swamps of Lake Texcoco into the powerful political, economic, and religious center of the greatest empire of pre-Columbian Mexico. It was also the city of great wealth obtained through the spoils of tribute from conquered regions.
War. War was an important part of Aztec life. The Aztec conquered over 400 cities in Mexico. The Aztec often used the person they captured as slaves or as human sacrifices to feed their gods. The fall of the Aztec.
The Aztec believed in human sacrifice. That was one of the many reasons the other tribe hated and feared the Aztec. But Aztec seemed unstoppable. It was not until in the 50s, when the Spanish arrived, the Aztec were conquered. The Spanish brought guns, dogs, horses, and disease. It was disease that conquered the Aztec. The Aztec Empire collapsed. The Spanish took over the entire region. Cortes' victory destroyed the Aztec Empire, and the Spaniards began to consolidate control over what became the colony of New Spain. conquest of the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan by Hernan Cortes on 1521. And these are those the Aztec civilization.